Cinder Albatross stands at the edge of Lionel's property. It's sunset, which means they'd probably finished their yard work by now. If Cinder had known what a well-kept lawn looked like, they may have realized it wasn't receiving the same care it usually did. But that doesn't matter. Not right now. Not to them. All Cinder has to do is walk forward. But they can't even do that. 12 years ago, Cinder and Lionel were both 13. Lionel never did the same job 2 days in a row, and on this particular day he was moving cargo from van to storehouse. The morning was long, but not particularly strenuous at the pace Lionel took it, and come noon Lionel took his lunch to a quiet wooded area just outside of town. Normally, this was a secluded spot free from any passerby but Lionel. But today was different. As the grove came into view, Lionel could see a blue-haired person face-planted in the grass. Seconds went by and they remained motionless. For a moment, Lionel thought they may have been dead. Are you okay? The young Lionel asked. He heard a response muffled by the ground.
Puss.
Pardon? Lionel asked. At last the figure peeled away from the dirt. The person, who seemed the precise center between Putsch and Femme, behind the thin layer of dirt, looked around themselves in a daze. Their eyes met Lionel's, and they took a moment to try and re-rail their train of thought. Went for a morning jog. Thought 700 milliliters of water would have been enough for it. Turns out it wasn't, so I think I passed out for a sec. Now I'm hungry and thirsty. Oh, if that's what you need, I have food and drink. Here, Lionel said, unpacking his lunch and handing the person half a sandwich and a thermos. You sure you want to give this to me? It's a pretty good-looking sandwich, the person replied. It's no problem. I can make a sandwich like this just about any time. Mayday can whip up a bread before she starts making breakfast, Lionel said with a smile and a shrug. Well, I won't ask twice, the person said, and snatched Lionel's offerings with no other hesitation. After one messy, animalistic bite, though, they slowed down from devouring the sandwich to enjoying it at a fast pace. Lionel sighed, then sat down on the grass next to his new friend. Well, since that crisis is over with, could I ask you your name? I'm Lionel Belmonte. The person, after taking a swig of water, turned to Lionel and said, The name's Cinder. Glad I met you. You said you made the sandwich, right? It's really good. Well, I put the sandwich together. Like I said, Mary made that bread, and you have to have a good bread, Lionel explained, smiling proudly. No kiddin'. This stuff's great. No mayo either. Hate that stuff, Cinder said, absent-mindedly shaking the sandwich between bites. Yeah, both my moms are pretty adamant about that. The key to a good sandwich is making a good-tasting bread that's not a chore to eat, Lionel explained, taking the other half of his sandwich out of its bag. Who would have guessed, right? Well, tell him I said thanks for the bread, and thank you for putting that together. It was good, Cinder said with a smile. I'll do that, Lionel chuckled. But here's something else, Cinder. I'm surprised I haven't seen you around here before, given how intense your exercise apparently is. Well, Wellspring's a big city. Can't say I'm surprised we've never met, Cinder said with a shrug. Lionel paused for a moment. This is Rovino. Shit, seriously? Whew. I got some distance today. You're telling me you jogged from Wellspring to Rovino in a morning? No wonder I found you half dead, Lionel exclaimed. Not half dead. Quarter dead at most, Cinder said passively. Regardless, that's committed, that's for sure, if a little unhealthy. Yeah, I could have been more careful trying a new route. Oh well, that's info for next time. Next time as in choosing a better route, or doing this route better, Lionel said, cocking an eyebrow. This one better, yeah. I know I passed out now, but I can get used to this. As long as I'm ready for it, this is a pretty good jog, actually. Well, if you need water next time, I'll be in the same place just about every day. There's no better spot for lunch. If you want to bring another sandwich for me, that'd be great, Cinder said with a smile. Then a pause. Then panic. Ah, shit, lunch? Oh, if it's noon, I gotta get back to Wellspring. My aunt's gonna kill me. Cinder sprang up from her spot and ran off, turning only to wave at her new friend, who, in turn, gave a slightly exasperated wave back. 10 years ago, Cinder and Lionel were both 15. Cinder had indeed kept her new jogging route, giving herself and Lionel ample time to talk. That lasted only so long, of course, as both their respective schools had tangled further into their lives. Even still, Cinder visited when she could, and Lionel was rarely one to turn her down, especially if it meant showing off his budding culinary skills. 2 years would soon go by quickly for the two who lived so leisurely, and on this night they found themselves in Wellspring. Cinder sat and Lionel laid down on a grassy hill overlooking one of the rivers in the city. "So, pretty good view, right?" Cinder bragged. "Yeah, not bad," Lionel sighed wistfully. "This is a comfy spot, and a nice look at the architecture. That would be Greek-styled?" "Oh, I don't fucking know. But, it's only not bad," Cinder said, half sarcastically. "Yeah, all the good hideaway places are like alleyways and whatnot. I prefer secluded natural spots myself, and just about anything natural in Wellspring is like public parks." "Alright, next time we'll visit Central Park. It's huge, and if you really want somewhere to hide, you can just sneak onto the Athena." Now, Cinder, I do like this view. Cities have their own charm to them, and there's really something lovely about the intricacies of Wellspring in particular. But it's all city. I like more of a mix, you know?" "Yeah, I think I picked up on that," Cinder nodded. "But I still don't get exactly what you mean. Like, this is a mix, right?" Kinda," Lionel chuckled. "I wouldn't worry about getting it. Honestly, I don't know if I get it myself. Maybe it'd be better to just say my brain likes what it likes and leave it at that." "Oh, no, I think you're onto something. I just need to figure out what it is you like." "Oh, well, that's easy. A cup of hot chocolate and a cannoli while sitting at a tiny table in a garden. Perfect afternoon." Right. I almost forgot you're a grandpa in a teen's body." Yeah, I don't act my age. Say, how many sit-ups did you do in a row earlier?" 67, but I don't think I measured that minute right. Your point?" "You work harder than most people do in their prime. You know, it is actually kind of bad to be exercising like you do when you're still developing, right?" I feel fine," Cinder says, though she stops herself from talking for a moment. "I just want to make sure no one thinks I'm weak." "I don't think you have to worry about that. You look like you could punch out an elephant. And if you're really worried, just keep hanging out with me. I'm clearly the demure one between the two of us," Lionel added an eyelash flutter. "Thanks for the offer, but I've got to look tough on my own. Like, the albatrosses have got to be super buff, right? I bet you look at an albatross and you just know you don't mess with them." Cinder laid back herself, and the two watched a boat drift through their view. "So, what you dancing around, Cinder?" Lionel asked, watching a man pace about the boat faster than it was sailing. "Can I run something by you real quick?" "Of course." "You think it'd fit if I, like, didn't have any set pronouns?" "I can see it." "Cool." The boat starts to reach their periphery. "Anything you'd prefer?" I'm done with whatever. I want to let people just look at me and figure out what I'm about." "Well, I think we've firmly established not weak is the first thing anyone will think." "I guess that is pretty vague when you say it like that." "Don't worry, I'll be more specific if anyone asks. I'll tell them, 'Hey, this is my friend Cinder Rio. They're magnificent. Figure the rest out yourself,'" Lionel says with exaggerated hand gestures. Cinder laughs. They let silence fall, but keep their eyes on Lionel. He keeps his gaze set on the river, but they can feel him watch them all the same. "Hey," Cinder says after clearing their throat. "Thanks for being cool about this." "Thanks for telling me. Your genderlessness isn't much of a surprise knowing you, but I know things like this can be difficult," Lionel says, still looking forward. "I mean, yeah, I guess it's kind of awkward figuring out how to bring that sort of thing up. But it's not like coming out when you're on Earth, right?" Cinder asks, shifting to a cross-legged sit. "Yeah, I know history's not your thing, but man, the queer history course I'm taking can be a headache," Lionel says with a sigh. "I know," Cinder replied. "You've given me like 10 different rants about it since the start of the semester." "Have I?" Lionel finally turns to face Cinder. "Well, I guess it makes sense. That stuff's so confounding, I need someone to vent to. How the heck do you mess up so much of society that every facet of everyone's personality is performative? performative heteronormity, performative masculinity, performative make sure your favorite cake comes in black so everyone thinks you're tough and straight. Lionel spins his hands as he lists things. A smile creeps onto Cinder's face. What? Sorry, you said performative masculinity, and now I'm just thinking of you acting all macho. Cinder giggles underneath their breath. Wait, no, I'm just imagining you with beard. That's funny enough, I think. Beard Lionel is an affront to God and cannot be mentioned in decent society. And, moreover, he sounds tiring. I'm just the man my mother's raised. I don't need to be any more than that. Yeah, I've always thought you were good enough just being Lionel. Cinder pauses. Though that being said, Lionel with a gun pushes the age rating up and we're too baby to handle that. What about Lionel with a gun who swears? Not appropriate for any age demographic. Cinder pauses again and suggests another alternative Lionel, which Lionel rejects. The night goes on, and a handful more ships pass by in the night, bearing witness to some part of the two's conversation or another. What else they talked about, or even if they had gone home before they fell asleep, is a haze in Cinder's memory. 7 years ago, Cinder and Lionel were both 18. There had been a time once or twice when Cinder had wondered if they and Lionel would attend the same university. But when their time in high school was drawing close to an end, Cinder had a realization. There's no point in acting tough if it doesn't help anyone but me. That small thought, born in the solitude of finals preparation, grew quickly until they couldn't see themselves calmly continuing in academia. It wasn't their place. And, having been raised on stories of the Albatrosses, it was only natural they were drawn to the employ of IPSN. 3 months there passed, and in that short time Cinder had left a good impression on the company's CEO. "What do you know about the Albatross?" Largo West asked one humid summer afternoon. Still being an old man even 7 years ago, he kept strictly to the shade of an inactive mech as he conversed with Cinder. Cinder, unlicensed as a lancer at the time, was sitting atop the mech tinkering with it. "What do you mean?" Cinder asked, scratching the back of his head. He prodded the mech's computer for whatever he was testing it for at the time. "They go around the universe saving people. Not much to it other than that." "When you say something like that, Cinder, I can tell you find the concept of the Albatross inspiring. But I'm asking you what you really know about the Albatross." "I'm not really following you, boss. If you're trying to get at something, just say it," Cinder says with a shrug. Largo sighs. "Very well. The Albatross is an organization without borders, yes. You are correct about that. But you don't seem to understand the dedication that goes into what they do." "Really? Because I've trained pretty hard. I'm already pretty damn good with a mech. It's just been a few months and I'm pretty sure I could get a license no problem." "That is dedication that anyone could muster, as long as they could be bothered to do so. No, Cinder, you romanticize their heroics as something attainable by basic training. But the Albatross is a secluded group. Were you to seek them and find them, they would reject you without hesitation. Theirs is a life of perpetual wandering. Someone like you, who does not know their ways and still finds himself attached to his life in Overture, has no place in their world." Cinder's work stops. His gaze falls to nowhere useful. Yeah, I guess that's kind of dedication you'd need for that sort of work, huh?" "Do you wish to join the Albatross? You speak of them so highly," Largo says, cocking an eyebrow. I know, but..." Cinder forces his next words to avoid a confirming pause. "It doesn't have to be them. I mean, there's no way I could really find the Albatross from Overture anyway. I just want to work like the Albatross, not as one, you know? Overture needs someone like that. Someone who could help regardless of what planet they're from." Cinder scratches the back of his head again. "Though, I guess that'd be pretty hard, too." "Difficult, but not impossible." Largo shakes his head. "The Black Sheep Covenant of Deliverance is known quite far in our galaxy. Do you think she has to sacrifice herself as the Albatross do?" "I don't know. Never met the lady. Her home is Overture. Deliverance liberated her and her planet, and recognized who she is and what she fought for. She was forged in fire, yes, but Deliverance recognizes her. She can be that hero without being stripped of her past. So, wait, what's your point? You cannot be the Albatross you know of. Your past here in Overture ties you down. If you wish to keep that past with you, you need someone else. Kovanen has Deliverance. Are you getting at what I think you're getting at? Cinder said, perking up. Your goal and IPSN's are quite similar. After all, with the Emerald Gate decommissioned, we do not have the connection to the Albatross that the main branch does. Our organization, we rely much on their deeds to soar ourselves, you know. IPSN became what it is now because interstellar trade is dangerous. But if you provide protection for the traders, you'll have saved not just the lives of merchants, but the families they feed as well. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's important to something or someone, so you gotta make sure they're safe from thieves or criminals or whatever. Here in Overture, IPSN can cover supply, but we need muscle. Muscle and resolve. Resolve that not every person has. But you do, Cinder. You're brave in ways I don't think I've seen before. You really think so? You cannot be the Albatrosses, but you can be our Albatross. I can promise you all of the resources you need to protect Overture, if you'll accept, Largo said, extending his hand. Are you kidding? Of course I'll accept. Maybe you're right about the past holding me back, but that doesn't matter if IPSN has my back. The Albatross can cover the rest of the galaxy like they always have, but I'll make sure nobody in Overture has to suffer the pain of loss. As long as I'm here, no distress signal will go unanswered, Cinder practically shouted, grabbing Largo's hand and shaking it violently. After a wince from the boy's excitement, Largo displayed a warm smile, or at least as warm a smile as a mask could bear. 5 years ago, Cinder and Lionel were both 20. Cinder's reputation had quickly grown throughout Overture since she had taken Largo's offer, and Lionel, having been elected to an Athenian council even though he was still in college, was well aware of his friend's rise to fame. But her latest achievement cemented her popularity throughout the galaxy. It had also placed her in the hospital. Cinder had hardly been bedridden for 2 days before she heard a soft knocking on her door, and though it had been some time since she had met them, she could guess who it was. "Come in," Cinder said, trying to keep a neutral tone. The person outside complied, and Cinder smiled when they were proven correct by Lionel entering the room. "Hey, Lionel. Been a while." "A whole 2 years. I'd like to say time has flown, but things have been a bit of a slog at times." "Really? I thought people always said being busy made time go faster." "Yes, well, those people are wrong. Having to contend with school and being a member of the council, I wish this would all go by faster." "I guess I had the right idea then," Cinder grinned. Can't say I agree. I don't have anyone to pass notes to in class anymore." "What, you haven't made any friends since me?" "None of them are quite as troublesome as you," Lionel laughed. "Well, it's not like it's been a bad slog. I've managed to organize quite a few projects back in Rovino. I've worked a lot of jobs, but I don't think anything's felt quite as good as getting a public works project finished." "I remember you were bragging about one of those in your letters. The, pathing one, right?" "Yeah," Lionel nodded. "I'm a bit biased. Madre really appreciates having an easier path to walk on. You should see what it looks like in person, though. We've managed to keep the cobblestone look almost perfectly, but it's easy to walk on now." "Having your cake and eating it too, eh? Good job." "Thanks. It's certainly not as exciting as what you do, but I like to think I'm good at it. Actually, how long are you staying in Wellspring anyway? Excluding the hospital visit, of course." "Not too long, probably. I'd already be off this planet if all my bones worked properly." Ouch. Well, that's too bad. Since I'm already studying here, they've actually been considering putting me on Wellspring's council. Nice! Wait, let me guess. If you take it, you're gonna move to that little place on the outskirts, right? Yes! I mean, if it's not been taken already. There's no way someone bought that dingy little shack. It's cozy and the land looks easy to cultivate. Yeah, most people just want a house they can live in. Oh, but that spot is perfect! The meadow around there is amazing. Honestly, I might like it even more than my hometown. Of course, Cinder chuckled. The one time Wellspring impresses you and it has nothing to do with the actual city. Outskirts are city too? The two paused. Uh, but, enough about that. I came as soon as I saw the news. Not my best work, I'll admit, Cinder sighed. I wouldn't call it bad, though. Sure, I'd also prefer you not to get sent to the hospital, but it's not like it was for nothing, right? Meh. Come on, Cinder. You fought a whole space station full of pirates, and none of the workers died. None of them died, but some of them were pretty grievously injured. Do you think that's nothing? Well, no. But injured is better than dead. And safe is better than injured. I'm supposed to be the one with the power. I'm supposed to be the one who turns the tides. You're a human person with breakable bones and cuttable flesh, who can't just magically predict what's going to happen in a fight. I'm not just a human person. I'm a human person with a big metal suit that does what I tell it to. And I don't need to magically predict what bandits do. They invade, they fight, they kill. If I can't figure out how to stop them, I'm the one fucking up. It's not fucking up. You're putting your body on the line to save lives. Maybe it can't be easy to see people hurt, but can't you just leave well enough alone when you've done so much? Alone? The hell sort of attitude is that, Lionel? Do you leave well enough alone in your job? Do you just roll over when someone tells you no to one of your plans? That's not the same thing. And someone telling you no isn't a bad thing. You have to hear them out and compromise. Oh my god, you actually do. You hit one snag and suddenly you're willing to cut your own... aren't the same thing. They are. Even if you're not piloting a mech, you're responsible for people. And not just making sure they don't die. They have to be safe too. Anything less is on your head. That's responsibility, not fighting. If I reach an impasse, I don't get put in a hospital. Oh, good for you. You have the luxury of waiting around and trying to convince some dullard that it's a good idea to feed people. And when you take too long and someone dies, you don't have to see it. Nobody's in that sort of danger. This isn't Earth. Blah, blah, blah. Earth sucks and things are fantastic now. I don't care if things were once worse, Lionel. You have to make sure they're better now. I am! That's what I'm doing! I'm working with people to make sure everyone's lives improve. Sorry I can't be some superhero who makes all the right decisions themselves. Oh, what? That's what you think of me? The whole problem is that I don't make all the right decisions. I fucked up. All right, then you have perfect morality that no one could ever live up to, not even yourself. Your sense of justice is impeccable. No wonder IPSN thinks you're so great. You're a living poster child. Would you just fuck off already? I messed up, and if you don't want me feeling bad about it, then just stop yelling at me. Just let me heal in peace. Lionel stands silent for a moment and tries to make eye contact, but Cinder refuses. So, he turns around and leaves. Fine, is all Lionel says as he's already halfway out the door. Cinder turns himself over to lay face down to their pillow and shouts. Now, 5 years later, Cinder and Lionel have hardly spoken a word to one another. Lost in thought, Cinder faces forward, clutching a letter in their hand. The sun set some time before Cinder finally snapped out of their haze, but even now they do nothing. 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 Finally, their legs move forward if for no other reason than to make things less potentially awkward. They reach the door, cram the letter in the doorframe until it sticks, then pace away. Cinder turns one last time to look over the house before beelining away from the outskirts. With a visitor gone, the house returns to the stillness it's now accustomed to, alone in the night air. The door opens, and a small, furry hand snatches the letter before it can drift to the ground. The door closes, and stillness returns.